Alright, so in this video I'm going over a highly requested topic over on my Instagram, which is how I edit my short form videos. And what better way to show you how I'm editing my videos other than just recording a video when I'm editing a video from start to finish. And I have this editing workflow dialed right now. I can edit one of my short form videos in like 15-20 minutes. But I also use a lot of my own templates, presets and plugins. So to make this video a little bit more educational, I'm actually not going to use all of the templates and presets that I typically use. I'm going to make most things from scratch, so you can follow along and do the same if you want. But before we dive in, I just wanted to show you my very specific workflow that I use on pretty much every single short form edit. And this video is sponsored by MotionArray. More about them later. So with that being said, let's dive in. So let's start by dragging the raw file into the timeline here. And yes, I'm going to expose myself a little bit because I recorded over 4 minutes for a like 20-second video or 30-second video. We'll see how long it is. So yeah, that tells you something about how I record my videos. I'm not really good at it actually. But yeah, I don't have to sync any audio because it's recorded internally to the camera. So let's start off by color correcting and color grading. So as I said, I have this workflow dialed. I could just go here and drag on my color grade like this, and that's pretty much it. I always tweak this preset a little bit based on what settings I used in camera, what lights I used, and things like that. But this is like the baseline, and I think it already looks very good. But let's go over to my colors vertical workspace here. And actually, let me remove the preset like this. So we start off with this blank canvas. So as you can see, it's recorded in a flat log profile. In this case, I'm shooting on a Sony camera, so that is S-Log3. So I need to convert it from log to Rec 709. So to a normal looking shot, not this flat look. So to do that, I'm going over to Lumetri Color, Creative, and under Look, I'm going to go to Browse. I'm going to go to my LUTs here, and I'm going to find the Venice look, and I'm going to use the Alistair VLOOK -0p50. We'll see how that looks. And these LUTs are straight from Sony, so I can link them below if you also want them. So as you can see on the waveform, it's a little bit on the darker side. So let me boost the shadows a little bit here on the curves. Not too much. I kind of like a really contrasty look for social media. Maybe like this, and my skin tones look okay. My key light is a little bit bright, to be honest. I could mask out. That is a white skin tone. But as you can see, it's exactly on the skin tone line, so we don't really have to worry about the white balance. Now go ahead and add another Lumetri color effect. Then going back to Creative, browse a LUT. I'm going to choose the M31 Rec 709 and obviously bring this down to maybe 40, maybe 30. And don't you dare hate on me for using the M31 LUT. If you have been in the filmmaking YouTube space for a while, the M31 LUT is like the OG orange and teal look that everybody like Sam Colder used, and people overused it so much. So this LUT became like a meme in the industry, but I don't care. I like how it looks, and my whole brand is basically orange. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. And yep, that's it. This is the before and this is the after of the color grade. And now let's edit the audio. So again, I could just drag this preset on here and I would be good to go. But I'm not going to do that. So let's listen to what this sounds like without any editing. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank and you're not? So yeah, it doesn't sound too bad, but it could use a little bit of help to just make the audio pop a little bit more. So let's start off by adding a multi-band compressor. This is the best audio effect in Premiere. I use it on every single audio recording. It sort of evens out all the levels and it brings everything up, so the audio just sounds much more full. So just add the broadcast preset and bring the thresh down to like 5. That should be good to go. And next up, we want to add a parametric equalizer. And just hit edit, preset, and vocal enhancer. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank and you're not? And just because I'm recording in this big ass room with tall ceilings and empty walls, I get a lot of reverb when I'm recording. So I'm also just going to go over to Essential Sound, Dialogue, and hit this reduce reverb and bring this down to like 2 to just help with the reverb a little bit. Alright, so that is the color grading and the audio editing done. So now I usually start cutting the video, but I can see that I framed this video pretty bad actually, because there's way too much headroom here. So before I start cutting, I'm just going to scale this a little bit to maybe 110, maybe push it to 113. Alright, and I'm happy with this. So let's now start cutting. So there's really not much here to explain. I'm just going to cut out all the bad takes and keep all the good takes, and that's it for the cutting stage. You can follow along and see how I do it. Do you want to know why some editors are and the same editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy DMs and don't have to spend time making? It's because they have a really strong network of people around them, and they have a great so people refer clients to them all the time. It's word of mouth. It's word of mouth, only the best marketing strategy in here. And that is something that is not achieved easily, but in theory it's just keep incredibly happy and it doesn't matter if you're editing a $5 project, you keep the client happy. Money. Because it's not about short-term money, it's about your reputation. Alright, and that is all the good takes cut out, so I can just go to sequence and close gap. So the video is just under a minute, which is a lot longer than I expected actually. So yeah, that's like the first rough cut of the video, and now I'm just going to go in and clean up all of the cuts a little bit, maybe add some J cuts, L cuts, we'll see what fits. So I can actually add a J cut on this first one, so I'm just going to unlink this and bring it forward like 5 frames and drag this back. So the audio for the next clip starts before the visuals come in. So this might be a little bit too aggressive, but let's see. And you're not. And the same edit. No, I think this is actually good. I could actually push it further if I wanted to, maybe 2 frames more. You're not. And the same editor. So a J cut is if the audio comes before, like this. So you can see it looks like a J, like this. And an L cut would be the other way. That would mean that the next clip is starting before the audio from the previous clip is finished. So that would look something like this. This would be an L cut. And I'm actually not going to add an L cut because I like using J cuts more. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't always do J cuts and L cuts. Most of the times I just stack the clips after each other, but I do think it makes a difference, so that's why I'm going to do it in this video. But also keep in mind that this video that I'm editing right now, I'm not going to do anything crazy to this. This is the exact same way that I would edit any other video, maybe except for the J cuts. Like I'm not going to go into After Effects and do some crazy 3D editing, because that is not how I edit my videos. This is like the everyday video that I just throw into Premiere and just edit it like I edit every single one of my other videos, just as efficiently as possible. Like this is actually how I edit my videos. And that is the cutting of the video completely done. So next up is adding visuals and B-roll. And I'm going to put up on the screen right now what I'm talking about. So it's these segments where I cut from the A-roll talking shot onto some text on the screen, or some b-roll of me working or whatever it is. So that is what I'm going to add right now. So this right now is the video fully cut together. This is like the main structure of the video. And now we start adding things to this video to make it better. So I'm going to start off by adding a color matte. It will be 14, 14, 14. So almost black, a very dark gray. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank and you're not? And the same. So here I'm going to add a visual, like a text that says you're not. And you're not. And the same editor never has. So let's make the background that I'm always using on all my videos. So we are going to the Cineburn collection. And that is my pack of a bunch of film burn transitions and overlays. To start off with, I'm going to add a film leader projector. I don't need the audio right now. And it's 4K, so I need to scale it down to 50. Change the rotation to 90 and add the blend mode to screen. And the other overlay I always use is this vintage cinema flickering vignette. And you'll see what this one does in a second. Let me add this under the film leader projector. I believe this is also 4K, so I need to scale it to 50, 90, change the blending mode to overlay. So it adds this really cool like vignette to it, but it also adds some scratches and it just looks really cool. But I think it's a little bit too strong, so I'm going to decrease the opacity to like 30 or something. Let me bring it up to 40 actually. Yeah. And if you want to get this specific overlay or just any overlays in general, this one is actually from MotionArray. And MotionArray is also the sponsor of this video. If you're a creator or a video editor, you're probably familiar with MotionArray by now. They have really positioned themselves as the go-to one-stop shop for creators and video editors. I mean, they have templates for all of these editing softwares. They have presets, motion graphics, footage, music, sound effects, graphics, photos, a really useful plugin for Premiere, After Effects, Final Cut, and DaVinci. But what I really want to show you is the latest tool in their arsenal, which is the AI voiceover feature. I mean, voiceovers are an incredible way to spice up your videos. Voiceovers can be used in everything from documentaries to commercials to social media videos. But if you're a video editor, for example, and you get the task to edit a video podcast, pretty much all podcasts nowadays have a really engaging intro. You know what I mean, the Diary of a CEO intros. As an editor, you could use AI voiceovers to spice up these intros like crazy and really surprise your clients. So let's try it out with one of these voices.
Once upon a time, in a tiny village that was...
There's nothing quite like the simple life out here on the...
Push your limits and embrace the challenge. Every drop of sweat, every step forward.
Alright, so let's select this one. And let's write the intro for a guest. Let's say it's Joe Rogan. And you can adjust the speed and also the emotion of this. But let's not mess with any of that right now and just generate and see how it turns out.
Today's guest is none other than the former television host, UFC commentator, comedian, actor, and host of the most popular podcast on the planet, Cheeseburgers, Joe freaking Rogan. Joe freaking Rogan.
Joe freaking Rogan. That actually sounded so good. But yeah, thank you so much to MotionArray for sponsoring this video. And if you want to get MotionArray for yourself, there's a link in the description of this video where you can get $50 off your subscription. Let's go back and edit some videos. So now I have this background here. So let's add the text. Let's go and change the font and color to the font I use is called Obviously. And the color is, should be FF 9600. Yeah, that should be it. So let's So now we need to find out a way to make this look Good. We might not need the and. We could just make this one semi-bold. Let's keep it bold. And I'm going to add some transitions, and these transitions are from Film Impact. So I'm adding a text animator on your, then a pop on the not. Bank, and you're not. And this can actually go a couple of frames over. And now I'm going to nest both of these and add the glow, this glow preset. And the reason why I add the glow to a nested sequence and not just straight to these ones is because the glow from Maxon Universe and the transitions from Film Impact doesn't really work together. I don't know why, but yeah, I just need to nest the sequence and I'm all good to go. So yeah, the transitions are from Film Impact and the glow is from Maxon Universe, and it's the Uni Glow is the preset called. So that is just what I use. You probably don't need to use these plugins. I like the glow from Maxon Universe and I like the transition from Film Impact. So that is what I'm going to keep using. So that is the first visual done. Game editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy DMs. So for this, I want to go onto my own Instagram and screen record a bunch of cold DMs that I get and just add that to the video, and don't have to spend time making sample videos. And then I want to add some B-roll of me editing. So let me grab that real quick. Alright, so here is the screen recording. Let me remove the audio. Yeah, this is what I'm going to use here. And the same editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy DMs and don't have to. So let me zoom this in. I'm going to add the same color behind it and actually drag down the opacity to, let's do 20, and add a Gaussian blur to this. Just a slight, like 10% or something. And then I'm going to add the same cinema flicker and the film leader projector as well. Editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy DM. I could add some sort of cross to this. This is Premiere Composer, just a really easy way to find motion graphics and things like that right inside of Premiere. So this can be super useful as well. Let me actually see how this would look. Spammy DMs. Something like this. Let's now try and animate this a little bit. So what if we added a pull to this? Spammy DMs. This is a little bit better. Just spammy DMs. But what if I also animated the scale opacity and added a Gaussian blur to this as well? And made something like this. And also let me bring this down to 5. How does this look? Let's try and nest this and add the same glow to these and see how this looks. Just spammy DMs. But yeah, I think I'm keeping it like this for now. And now after this, I want to add some B-roll of myself working. And for that, it's just easiest to just open up an old project. So maybe I take this clip here, just drag this here. And I could also use the film matte from the same project. This film matte is also created by myself. So there's probably a link below this video if you want to grab this as well. I might actually continue with this film projector. Yeah, I'm just leaving it like this for now. And the auto captions are going to be added onto here in the later step. They have a really strong network of people around them and they have a great reputation. So there's actually going to be quite a lot of visuals here. Usually I want to sort of jump back and forth between me talking and the visuals and b-roll. But in this video, it just makes sense to have all of this after each other. So here I'm just going to write strong network. Make this 120. Decrease this, then I'm going to duplicate it and add a plus and great reputation. So a strong network plus a great reputation. That is the key for getting clients, and that is actually true. So let's do this. So for the texts, I'm going to add the same old text animator from Film Impact. And the same for the great reputation. And for the plus, I'm going to add a pop like this. What I actually want to do on these is add the camera shakes. And I have these camera shake presets as well that I've created. So let me add the subtle shake to all of them. They have a really strong network of people around them and they have a great... Yeah, that looks great. Now nest this, add the same glow, boom. I actually want to add the shake effect to this one and also this one as well. Or not. It's actually pretty simple. Let me add another text here. This one I'm just going to make really simple. It's actually pretty simple. It's actually pretty simple. Easy to work with, a great communicator, and it also helps to just be a nice person that people want to be around. Here I can add some b-roll if I want. I can drag this clip here. Maybe this clip of me eating sushi can work here. Work with a great communicator, and maybe this one. Doesn't really make sense, but hey, let me drag the film mats onto these as well. To work with a great... This needs to go down. People want to be... This clip of me eating sushi doesn't really fit, but I don't know, I think it's kind of funny. So I'm just going to leave it. What? Nice. And let me also add the same old film leader projector, which I'm adding to all of the visuals. So I'm thinking that I could reduce the opacity on these ones a little bit. I don't know. What do we think about 50? To work with a great communicator, and yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Especially on this one, we need it to be a bit darker so that I can have the yellow text on the screen. You keep the client happy, because it's not about short-term money, it's about your reputation. Alright, so that is the visuals and b-roll done. So yeah, this is what the video looks like now. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank, and you're not? And the same editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy DMs and don't have to spend time making sample videos. They have a really strong network of people around them and they have a great reputation. So people refer clients to them all the time. It's word of mouth, only the best marketing strategy in history. And that is something that is not achieved easily, but in theory, it's actually pretty simple. Just keep your clients incredibly happy and don't fuck up any projects. Be easy to work with, a great communicator, and it also helps to just be a nice person that people want to be around. And it doesn't matter if you're editing a $5 project or a $50,000 project. You keep the client happy, because it's not about short-term money, it's about your reputation. Alright, and that is all of the visuals and B-roll done. And this is really the most time-consuming part of this workflow, because even though it may not look done yet, after this we're just cruising to the finish line. So the next thing we want to do is add captions. And to do that we just come up to this text panel here, go over to transcript and hit generate static transcript. So to start off, I'm just going to go through and see that everything is okay. I think Premiere actually got all the words correct, so thank you for that. But I noticed that I didn't add any text onto this B-roll here, and I had planned on doing that and I must have forgot. So let me add that really quick. Also helps to just be a nice person that people want to be around. So now the visuals are done and we're now continuing with the captions. To do that, I'm just going to click this, create captions. Usually I have open another project where I can just grab the style, but I don't got that right now. So let's add this to 12. I usually keep it between like 15 and 12, 13. Boom. Select all of these, go to Essential Graphics, change this to Obviously, semi-bold. Add this under my chin like this, or on the black part of my shirt. Remove this shadow, add my color, FF 9600. Let's make that 60. So let's just go over all of the captions here and like remove the captions where we already have some text. Actually going to make this larger and don't have to spend. Right, so I clean up the captions a little bit. Now I'm going to highlight all of them, go up to graphics and titles and click upgrade caption to graphic. Then I'm simply going to add the glow to all of this. And on some days I would be done with the captions here. But when I have a little bit more time, I like to make them a little bit more dynamic. So let me show you what I mean. So are always fully booked and making bank. Here we can do something fun. Let's see, I'm just going to remove all of this actually. We can add like maybe something simple like this. Fully booked. It's fully booked. So we do something like this. Fully booked and making bank. Always fully booked and making bank. To make this a little bit more interesting, I could even do something like are always fully booked and making bank. And there we go. Let me nest this really quick and add the same glow effect onto this. So this is what I mean by just making the captions a little bit more dynamic. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank and you're not? So people refer clients. I feel like this text is way too low. So I can actually bring that up a little bit. Maybe like this. This as well. I'm just going to drag up this nested sequence. Okay, here I'm going to do the same thing that I did for this one here, as you can see, where I added the Gaussian blur like this. I can actually just copy this, go over here and paste the same attributes. Let me paste the opacity as well. Refer clients to them all. I'm going to add another keyframe for the position so it's not going up as much. And add another text here all the time. Here I want to add the pull again. So as you can see, I'm using a lot of film impact to them all the time. It's word of. I'm going to nest this. I'm going to add the travel, reverse the angle, change this all the time. It's word of mouth. Only the. And here I'm going to write something like this: $5 project, or maybe like 60. Add this in the middle, $5 project, 50,000. And I'm just going to add a pop to all of these. A $5 project or a $50,000 project. You keep the nest and glow. Easy peasy. $50,000 project. And last thing I'm doing for the caption is just writing your reputation. Let's make this bold. Down to like 80. Your reputation. And nest and glow. Alright, and that is all of the captions completely done. And now we move to the next step, which is adding zoom ins. So first off, I want to create the intro zoom in that I use on every single video. So let me create an adjustment layer. Add the transform effect to an adjustment layer. And on the first frame, you want to make this around like 170 or 180. Let's try with 180 now. Go forward like half a second or something. Add another keyframe. Then add the ease in to this keyframe and then drag this as far as it goes to the left. Do you want to know why some editors are all... Then I'm going to add a zoom in here by just animating the scale from 100 to, let's say, 110. And adding ease in and ease out to both. Always fully booked. Always fully booked. That is not where I want it. Are always fully booked and... That is too fast. Whoops. Are always fully booked and making bank. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Just copy this adjustment layer. Same editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy D and don't have to spend time making samples. People refer clients to them all the time. Make another zoom in to 115. All the time. And then I'm just going to make a hard cut back so it's not a smooth zoom out. All the time. It's word of mouth. Only the best marketing. I'm going to copy this again, but I just want to make this zoom in so I can just duplicate it like this. In history. And that is something that is... Again, I'm going to do a hard cut back. That is something. Then I'm going to copy this again. Just keep your clients incredibly happy and again, copy paste. But in the end, I'm going to add a zoom in. Like the same way I did this zoom out in the start, I'm going to add a zoom in the end. So from 100 to 180. So let's just, so like this. It's about your reputation. And there we go, now the zoom ins are done. Now I just want to add a couple of more visual touches to this, and then the whole video side of the video is done, and we just want to add like some music and sound effects. So let's add the first sort of visual touch. So I'm going to add an adjustment layer, drag it out over the whole thing. And I'm actually I want to have this under the zoom ins. I'm going to add the camera shake V1 subtle. So this is just going to add a little camera shake. As you can see, if you're watching closely, when I go back and forth, the whole frame has this little tiny shake. And I think it just makes the video a little bit more dynamic. So that's the first visual touch. And the next visual touch is my absolute favorite. And that is film burns. If you know anything about me, I live and breathe for these film burns. So much that I have developed my own film burn pack in collaboration with Think Make Push, who makes amazing overlays and stuff. So let me use these. I mostly like to use the film burn transition style 1 from my film burn pack. So I'm just going to drag all of them here. And I put a link to this in the description. There is a free sample pack that I highly recommend that you get, unless you want to get the full thing. If you want the full pack, it's also there. So I'm going to start off by just changing the scale to 50 and rotation to 90, blend mode to screen, and copy all these attributes to all of the other film burn transitions, like this. And then I'm going to go to this last film burn here, and in the middle of this transition I'm going to add a cut like that, and I'm going to take this and drag it to the start. Then I'm going to extend the sound effect a little, like this. Do you want to know why some edit? So the film burn acts as a sort of pattern interrupt and also a transition from start to end, because we're going to put the beginning of this film burn transition in the end. And I can overlap this a little bit. Do you want to know why some I think this zoom out is too slow, so let me make it faster. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank? And for the rest of the transitions, I'm just going to go and add markers on the middle of every transition. So the middle is when the frame is completely filled with the film burn, so that we can hide the cut. And then I'm going to add these to every single transition. So every time I go from talking to a graphic or B-roll or anything, I'm going to add a film burn transition, like this. And you're not. And the same editor never has to send out. I just noticed that I need to put the film matte on top of the shake, so that the shake effect is not affecting the film matte. I'm going to do that really quick on these layers. Making sample videos. They have a really... Alright, so that is the film burn transition added to every single motion graphic, or the transition between the A-roll shot and the motion graphic. And do you need to add this many film burns? Probably not, but I don't know. You don't have to, but I want to. Alright, now the whole visual part of the video is done. So now let's add some music to this. So I think the Kanye Runaway song would fit pretty well onto this. So I just need to modify it a little bit so it works. So I need to make this shorter. Bank, and you're not. And the same editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy DMs and don't have to, and they have a great reputation. I think I can keep it at the default audio level for the first piano thing, but after that I need to bring it way down, maybe like -17. Time making sample videos. They have a really strong network of people around them. I could get away with -15, I think. Actually, could I get away with like -13? I usually want to keep the audio levels, especially on Reels, I want to keep the audio levels as loud as possible without it being too loud, if that makes sense. So on YouTube videos or things like that, I usually like to keep it like way back. But for Instagram, I want it as loud as possible without it being annoying. Videos. They have a really strong network of people around them. I think -15 is going to be okay for this. And then we are on to the final step, which is sound effects. And I honestly don't do a lot for sound effects. I pretty much do the same thing on every single video, and I'll show you exactly what that is. So I have this sound effects pack from one of my creator friends called Ryan. I can link this pack down below as well if you want to check it out. So I always start my videos with these gears. I think they just sound cool. So let's drag these to the intro. Do you want to know why some... Bring the volume down a little bit, maybe -7. Do you want to know why some editors are always... Then I'm going to add a keyboard typing effect to here. And you're not. And you're not. Then I want to add this riser as well in the start of this video. Maybe here, let's see. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank, and you're not? So let's add the keyboard typing here as well. They have a really strong network of people around them, and they have a great reputation. So people refer clients to them all the time. It's word of mouth, only the best market. And that is actually everything I'm going to do for the sound effects. And I know, I could do so much more for the sound effects, and that would improve the video. But as I said, I really wanted to record this video live of how I would actually make one of these videos. And I don't spend a lot of time on sound design. And since I always do it last, I just want to get the video out. So this is usually where the editing ends for me anyways. But the good thing is that the film burn transitions have their own sound effects, so that makes it seem a little bit more okay. But yeah, that's probably just an excuse. But anyways, I'm going to stop rambling now because the video is done. And yeah, I hope this live video editing video was up to your expectations, and that you got something valuable out of it. But yeah, hopefully you learned something, got some insights into how I'm editing these videos, and maybe you can implement some of these things into your workflow. But with that said, thank you so much for watching, and here is the final result. Do you want to know why some editors are always fully booked and making bank, and you're not? And the same editor never has to send out a bunch of spammy DMs and don't have to spend time making sample videos. They have a really strong network of people around them, and they have a great reputation. So people refer clients to them all the time. It's word of mouth, only the best marketing strategy in history. And that is something that is not achieved easily, but in theory, it's actually pretty simple. Just keep your clients incredibly happy and don't fuck up any projects. Be easy to work with, a great communicator, and it also helps to just be a nice person that people want to be around. And it doesn't matter if you're editing a $5 project or a $50,000 project. You keep the client happy, because it's not about short-term money, it's about your reputation.